Sierra Rose, Gregory Bowers, Dasha Antipova, Stephanie Jockman, Oliver Vera, Jack Dickens, Geraldine Paredes, Max Morinelli, Nyreen Orisha, Andel Husbands. Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017. Coming to you from the beautiful University of South Florida campus in Tampa, it's USF Housing Live! Welcome everyone, welcome! This is USF Housing Live! Oh, settle down, you're so much energy over there. I am so excited. My name is Gregory Bowers with Housing and Residential Education here at the beautiful University of South Florida in Tampa. As I said, this is USF Housing Live. We're coming to you truly live from our campus here in Tampa. So if you have any questions during the show, go ahead and type them in the comments. They'll send them to me right here on the set and we'll answer you in real time. So let's get started and meet our panel of experts tonight. We have Michael Evans from Housing Assignments. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you here. Also joining us is Dr. Richard Pollins. Dr. Pollins, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Good. Go Bulls.
Good to have you here. The first Bulls side of the night. I love it. And so next up we have a three-peat. Do I say three-peat? Three-timer.
That's a good one. I like three-peat.
And so Peter Thorson, our three-peat. Welcome to the show, Richard. Welcome, Peter. It's live and I've messed up and that's how it rolls. Okay, so Peter, are you ready to go ahead and have us fire some questions at you?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so while we're going through this, folks, I want you to know, if you have a question, just type it in the comments. They'll send it to me on the set and we'll ask in real time. So go ahead and send those questions our way. But first up, if you can just tell us, Peter, tell us about career services and what it means for our incoming students.
Absolutely. So the Office of Career Services is an office here on campus that helps our students from the moment they arrive on campus all the way through the time they become alumni. And we're really focused on really finding jobs, getting into the best fit major, and looking at internship and part-time job opportunities. So we really focus on helping our students to find that success while they're here at the university.
All right, excellent. So there's something called Federal Work Study, FWS. We hear about it all the time in the group. Can you explain that for us?
Absolutely. So FWS, or Federal Work Study, is a type of financial aid. So the first thing that our students need to do is they need to log on to OASIS and take a look at their financial aid award from the university. If it indicates that they've been given Federal Work Study, or FWS, they need to accept that award. That's critically important. If they do not accept that award, they can't use that award. The second piece of FWS is that it's a little bit of a different type of financial aid. So unlike scholarships or loans or grants that are applied to the student's account and then are immediately applied to their balance due to the university for things like tuition, for housing and dining, Federal Work Study is earned when the student takes a job on campus. And so once they've accepted that award, they're then able to go out onto the Careers at USF website and begin to look for Federal Work Study positions. Those positions then they would work in up to 20 hours a week. They earn a salary based on that Federal Work Study award, and they're paid on a biweekly basis. So that money goes into their pocket that they can then use for things like eating out, paying for textbooks, paying for supplies, and those types of things. But FWS, not a traditional type of financial aid, but they do need to do both of those steps in order to claim that money.
All right, excellent, thank you. And so speaking of employment, what about non-FWS opportunities? What exists part-time for our students?
That's a great question. There are two types of part-time employment that we encourage our students to take a look at if they are not FWS eligible. The first type is on-campus part-time employment, and those are going to be departments like housing, like career services, like some of the other big units on campus like the library or rec services. And what those departments do is they actually hire students for up to 20 hours a week. They're great positions because they're here on campus, so very little commute for most of those. You can roll out of bed and show up for work. And they give students an opportunity to earn essentially spending money for their time here while they're on campus. Again, they're paid biweekly, and that gives that student a chance to earn some additional income. The second type of part-time employment that's available to our students is what we call JLD. And JLD are private employers who are near the Tampa campus. Those are things like Busch Gardens, Adventure Island. We've got a lot of local businesses who surround campus who also employ through the JLD program. And those are employers who have committed to hire USF students and to work with students with their schedules, and that's really important. So as a new student, you're going to have lots of assignments, group projects, you'll need time to prepare for exams. These JLD employers have committed to us here at USF that they're going to give students the time they need to be able to do that, to have the flexible schedules, but also to be able to pay them again on a recurring basis so that they have spending money for while they're here at campus.
Excellent, good to know. And also for those of you sending questions our way, just know that we we do have your questions, and we'll be answering some of those later, because right now we're talking about career services. So if you have a career question like, how do I get a job, or how much money am I going to make if I do this? I don't know if Peter can answer all those questions, but hey, why not ask? So we will be getting to those questions a little bit later. Something we hear about from career services a lot is My Plan, My Pathways. Can you tell us what that is?
Absolutely. My Plan, My Pathways is a program that's in its second year here at USF. It is a partnership program that we do with the Office of Orientation. And so once you register for orientation here at USF, you'll receive an email from our office. And that's an invitation to participate in My Plan, My Pathways. That program consists of two types of assessments. They're kind of fun. They're like BuzzFeed quizzes. You go in and you learn a little bit about your personality and a little bit about what types of occupations or careers you might be interested in. And what we do with those results is we'll work with you to actually make sure that you're in what we call a best fit major. So you might think that, hey, I've always wanted to be an accountant. My dad's always been an accountant. And by taking these assessments, you might find out that you have some skills in some other areas. Maybe they're more artistic. Maybe they're more related to entertainment. Maybe they're related to the sciences. And so what we can do is actually help you understand what those results mean and to look at other majors that might complement what your career passions and interests are. But it's a great program, totally free. It's something you can do before orientation. And we like to tell students that if they complete that before they come to orientation and bring a printed copy or have the email they get from the system on their cell phone, if they visit us during the expo portion of orientation, we've got some really cool free swag for them. So if they bring that with, they can pick up swag. And we're really excited about that this year.
Awesome. So get out there to the table. Everyone likes free swag. Get out there. I'm sorry we are out of time, Peter. But of course, if you have a question for Peter still, send it our way. If we have some time later in the program, we'll definitely jump back and answer that. And so we're going to take a short break. We're going to show you our next installment of A Year with Celeste, one of our student documentary series. And we'll be back with Dr. Pollins right after this.
When I first visited campus, my favorite part about it was just like how open it was, how many people were around. I really liked just like how the buildings were set up. It seemed like it would be easy to make my way around. My favorite part about the USF campus is the Castor Beach right out in front of my hall, and it's just really nice to go out and relax for a while if I've had a rough day. So the Bull Market is a series of different vendors and student organizations. It's their way of getting their word out to all the community and the students out there. I usually see a lot of different clothing and jewelry, and there's a lot of free food. The Bull Market is held right in front of the MSC. So the Bull Market gives me a way to connect with student organizations. I learned more about the study abroad program because of Bull Market, and also Art Honor Society and the events that they get involved in and how I can get involved also. My favorite part about being a freshman is that the whole first year is just a learning experience. There's room for mistake and to grow into the person you want to be and what you want to accomplish for your following years.
Welcome back, everyone. We are now speaking with Dr. Pollins, who's representing the STEM Living Learning community. Dr. Pollins, welcome to the program.
It's great to be here. What do you got for me today?
Oh, I got 1,000,001 questions. And of course, if you have a question, just go ahead, type it in the comments. We'll ask in real time. So, all right. So the STEM LLC is affiliated with the STEM Academy program. So let's start there. What is the STEM Academy?
So the STEM Academy is a short 6-day program that begins the Sunday, August the 13th. So it really runs the week before school starts. All of the students that are admitted to that program, and the students that are eligible for this would be anybody that is in an arts and science college STEM major. So we're talking biomedical science, biology, chemistry, math, physics, geology. We do allow chemical engineering majors in as well because they're going to take some of the first year courses. But through the STEM Academy, the students are going to become engaged in the university, strategize. They're going to be looking at some of the things that Career Services was talking about in terms of different careers, exploring different options for what they're going to be able to do. Affiliated with the STEM Academy is our Living Learning community, and that would be approximately 80 students that would be living in Cypress Hall and have all different kinds of engagement that would happen in the fall and spring semesters.
So can you tell us a little bit about some of the specific activities they're going to experience?
So in the STEM Living Learning community, on a weekly basis, there will be a graduate assistant who is in the residence in Cypress, as well as tutors that come in. So past STEM Academy scholars will come in, help students anything you want in terms of the entry-level courses that you're taking. Twice a month we have a big event. So I, for example, will come in and we'll do game night. We'll do a science movie night where we'll watch The Martian or the Andromeda Strain. And then twice during the semester we have large events. So we will do the Tampa Heart Walk on November 11th. We had the largest group that participated in the entire Tampa Bay community last year doing the Heart Walk. We may end up going to Savannah, Georgia or Charleston, and these are the type of events that happen a couple times per month.
And so there's another thing I want to ask you about. It's very popular with the students. We understand you like to bake. And so this has been incorporated into the LLC program. Can you tell us about that?
So I'm a professor of cell and molecular genetics, and for my success in my discipline, the fact that I loved cooking and especially baking was a difference maker for me in being able to carry out experiments. So what we do is we incorporate a lot of these elements of creativity into our program. And if you can bake, follow the recipes, then you will be an exceptional bench scientist. So one of the things that we do is I'll bring in all the different ingredients for chocolate chip cookies. I have 20 different recipes. I can make them fat, I can make them thin, I can make them round, I can make them square, the whole deal. And what we'll do is we'll take the different ingredients and we'll talk about the chemistry that leads to the ability to make different types of cookies. So use double acting baking powder, you get double the amount of CO2 produced and it makes a nice puffy cookie versus using just baking soda, which will make a flatter one. So these are some of the things that we do with the students, and it just is transformational in terms of looking at how food science, creativity will impact them as a scientist.
That's so cool. I love that because, you know, a lot of people like to make cookies, but the fact that you're making it, showing the science of it, and it makes it so much more fun and it's so popular. And so I absolutely love that. Just fantastic. So let's talk about some of the tutoring support, academic support. What exists for the residents in the STEM LLC?
So as I mentioned before, what we do is we will hire a couple of the students that were in the STEM Academy in previous years. So we're going into our third year of STEM Academy. And so these students will come in and we'll set times and hours each week. And so if you are part of that living learning community, you have what I would consider a full support base. You'll have a GA that you can talk to a couple times a week. You will have tutors that you simply can drop in. So we basically advertise, they'll be there on Wednesday from 3 to 4. And what we do is we look at all 80 students' schedules and we will try to work around where the students have their courses so that there's a maximum ability to get engaged.
Awesome. And there's even more engagement, I understand, with interacting with professionals. And so what professionals will they meet?
We bring in pharmacists, dentists, MDs, individuals from engineering, business. What we're trying to do is get that student to truly find their passion and understand that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve as long as they're pursuing their passion in the moment. They will have opportunities.
That's fantastic. Excellent. And so there's still time to apply for your LLC, right?
We have 20 spaces left. It does require that you also are a member of the STEM Academy program. But even if a student already has been accepted to USF, is in one of those majors, has a housing assignment outside of the LLC, we still can accommodate that particular student. And you simply can Google HHMI USF STEM Academy and you'll come to the website with lots of comprehensive information.
That's excellent. And so one last thing I want to ask you about is when we think about the entire experience where someone starts with the STEM Academy, maybe they live in the STEM LLC, overall, what is that going to do for them in the long run? How will that shape them as they look toward their professional career?
What the STEM Academy does is helps a student learn to function as a group, learn to network. And so what you will have is the ability to create advocates for you that are going to be the difference maker. So when you're applying for those jobs, when you want to go to medical school, you want to go to professional school, not only do you have me working for you, because I will be your biggest advocate. I have 17 years of experience at USF, 20 plus years in higher education, connections across many, many universities. But what the power of the STEM Academy is it creates this community of scholars. And at this point in time, when we start tracking the students that came in 2015, we have 98% retention to the university and close to 90% retention in STEM alone. We have a comparison group, and they're only at 60% retention in STEM. So it's a difference maker for the student in terms of the engagement, in terms of what is available for them, and seeing their future, seeing that they can get there from a lot of multiple different types of places.
Well, Dr. Pollins, thank you so much. The work you're doing is really astonishing stuff, and thank you so much for what you're doing for our residents and our students here.
I so appreciate being on, Greg, and anytime you want me back, I will be more than happy to be here.
Well, in that case, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay. So that was Dr. Pollins. Coming up next, we're going to be meeting Michael Evans, who's going to answer a lot of your questions that have been coming in about housing. But first, we're going to spend a little more time with Ondel and another installment of our Year with Ondel documentary series, and we'll take a peek at athletics. More Housing Live coming your way right after this.
I major in computer science. I grew up being very interested in computers, so I thought, why not continue what I'm good at? To me, the library is my #1 resource center. There's the digital media commons, there's the writing studio if you need help with any form of writing. There's, if you need a textbook for a class, you can go rent it for however long you want. I live at Cypress Apartments, and it takes me about 10 minutes to skate there. When I go to the library, I take my headphones, I usually grab a few friends, and we head to the second floor and find a spot and just get what we have to get done. So it's basically called Club Lib because 99% of the time when you go there, you're gonna see someone that you know, and it's gonna be so hard to not go sit and chat with them, but you have to basically prioritize it. I prepare for finals by making a list of every single topic that I need to study, and I plan how I'm gonna study it during the 1 or 2 weeks of finals, and this usually works for me. But you have to decide what works best for you and stick with it. Living on campus, you're so much closer to everything, you're so much closer to your classes, and there's the additional resources like the library, there's the MSc, and it just motivates you to just go out there and try your best.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Again, my name is Gregory Bowers with Housing Residential Education. We're the best place to live, the best place to work, the best place to learn. And let's talk to my best buddy over here, Michael Evans from Housing Assignments. Michael, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
I'm glad to have you here. You are the first time we've had someone that's not Dave Kloiber from Assignments. How does that feel?
Weird. I feel like I need to try and be Dave, and I'm not good at that.
Well, you are tall, so I have plenty of tall jokes we'll be getting into later in the program.
Perfect.
So, Michael, tell us a little bit about what Housing Assignments does in general for our residents.
Sure, we do a whole lot of things. We process applications, we process just about any of the forms. In fact, anything you can do on the housing portal comes back to the assignments office, and we do anything that has to do with processing that information. So whether it's room changes, room swaps, applications, housing application fee deferments, all of those types of things come through our office, and we, along with our student staff, answer as many questions as we can and try and make it a smooth process for our students.
Awesome. Yeah, you all do great work up in the central office, the assignments office, answering everyone's questions, and so we appreciate that. And you know what? We've also got some questions from our viewers. You want to jump into some of those?
Oh, sure, why not?
Okay, and so folks, if you have a question, type them in the comments. We'll answer you in real time, of course. So here's a question from Brittany who would like to know, what's the difference between a double room and a double corner room in Juniper and Poplar?
Sure. So in a double room in Juniper and Poplar, you'll have a double bedroom and another double bedroom that are joined by a bathroom. The difference between that and a corner double is actually that there aren't two bedrooms joined together in a corner double. So there's a double bedroom and a bathroom, but there's no second bedroom. So it's just two people that are sharing that bathroom.
Awesome. They have a little more space over there too in that corner space.
Yeah, because of the way the building's set up, it does have a little extra space in it.
So I've seen one of my favorite students from my academic foundations class actually set up a supercomputer corner over there with 4 monitors, which is 2 more monitors than any human needs, but enjoy that extra space. So if you're in a corner double, you have more space than you need. So invite your friends over and you can all have plenty of room to dance and have activity space. So that's great. So we have a question here. We want to bring it back to Peter, actually. We covered this a little bit earlier, but Peter, if you could just give us a quick synopsis for this. Willie Pie would like to know, how does work-study work?
So for work study, again, all you need to do is accept that award in Oasis, and then you're going to look for a job to work on campus. If you have specific questions, you can drop us an email at careerservices@usf.edu, and we'd be happy to help you navigate that process.
Awesome. And so something to just touch on, because we have a lot of students that see an FWS job and they wonder, can they apply? So who's eligible to get one of those jobs?
The only people who can apply for an FWS kind of reference job in careers at USF are people who have the FWS award in Oasis, and they have accepted that award. That's really critical. A lot of students don't accept their award, and so they can't use it. So if you don't accept it, you can't use it.
So they need to get into Oasis and accept that award.
Yes.
Do that right away in 10 minutes. That's right. But stay with us for the rest of the show here. I've got a question. I think this is a me question. So Ali would like to know. The question is, move-in date for the village is August 17th, which is correct, our grand opening day. But for Bull Hall volunteers, move-in is as early as August 15th. That's Tuesday. Will they open the village as early as August 15th? If they don't, what happens? It's a great question, and we've been getting a lot of these questions about the village because, as you know, Beacon Hall and Summit Hall, as you can watch on our Facebook page, we just took you in there last Friday, still under construction. And it's difficult to have you live in a building if it's still being built. And so we have currently set the date as grand opening, which is Thursday, August 17th, which is our grand opening day for fall. That's when all of your fall-spring contracts begin. But for a number of students out there, you may have a special program which calls for you to arrive to campus early. So if you are a student that's set up for the village, that does present some challenge. I want you to be aware that we know that that's a challenge, and so that's all being reviewed and looked at. I don't have any updates for you yet. What I can share is that if we have any changes or any updates or any new processes or opportunities of how this is all going to work for you, we will let you know via USF email. So make sure you keep checking your USF email. That's where you'll get all those official communications. Also, we make sure to update you in the USF Class of 2021 Facebook group. So make sure you join facebook.com/groups/USF 2021, and we'll be able to keep you up to date in there. And so great questions, keep them coming. We'll be happy to answer those for you. Back to Michael here. Michael, I want to live on campus. What are the steps to apply?
Absolutely. Your first step is going to be to apply. So if you go onto the housing portal under applications, you'll find the 2017-18 student housing application. Go ahead and fill that out. Once you've done that, there's another 3 steps that you have to do. The first is to pay the $50 application fee. Now that fee won't hit your account until 1 business day after you've submitted your application. So if you submit your application and immediately try and pay, you won't see that charge, and in fact your payment may not hit that charge, which takes us a couple of extra days to process. So do wait that extra day if you can.
So let's say, if I may jump in, let's say that I were to complete my application on Friday. When do I wait until to do the application fee?
You would need to wait until Monday. So Monday is probably after 10 or 10:30 is when the fee should hit your account. And so at that point, you should be able to jump in and make that payment.
Great, fairly quick. All right, and so please take us through what are the other steps?
Absolutely. So the next thing you'll need to do is make sure that you're registered for and have paid for orientation. That is a requirement for anyone who wants to live on campus. You don't have to have attended, just registered and paid. And in order to do that, you will also have to have paid your $200 admissions deposit. So keep that in mind as you look to register for orientation. And then the last thing is to make sure that you have all of your immunization documentation submitted to Student Health Services. And I want to stress Student Health Services. A lot of people try and send that to the housing office. Unfortunately, we can't do anything with it, so we'll just send it back to you and say that it needs to go to Student Health Services.
Okay, excellent. So folks know if you want to go over all the steps and have links to all the locations to handle all of this, it's all set up on our website, usf.edu/housing. Select housing application up top, then choose first year students, and you'll see 5 steps to living on campus. It's all right there. And so we've gone through 4 of them, but what is big step number 5, Michael?
It's the most exciting step. It's actually picking your room. So we are just now moving this year to allowing first year students to also select their own room once they've completed all the application steps. So you can actually do that in the housing portal as well. Once you log in, there's a link that says room selection. You'll click that, and as long as you've done the other things that we've asked, you will be able to go in. You'll see a map of campus, so you can click on what building you want. You can click on what floor you want to live in, and then you can pick which room you want. You'll click on a bed in the picture, And once you hit finish, you've assigned yourself to a room and you're good to go.
That's fantastic. Excellent. So people know, though, when you pick a bed in room selection, you didn't actually have that particular bed. And so there's not going to be a little card with your name, Janice's bed. That won't be there. But you'll be in that room. And so I just like to clarify because
Absolutely.
I don't want people to be like arm wrestling for who won the bed. So, which I haven't seen before, not speaking from experience. Got a question here from Jawad who would like to know, how far is the village from campus?
Well, the village is kind of in the middle of campus, so it's actually right in the center. So it's on campus. It's right on Holly Drive, actually. So it'll be right next to the MSC. It's really close to our housing office, right where our current Andros community is. So it's pretty close to everything in Central Campus.
All right, excellent. So yeah, it's right here on campus, so the village is part of our campus community. And so, Michael, thank you so much for coming on the program tonight.
Absolutely.
I hope we can get you back here soon.
I'm sure.
All right, Dave, your seat's in trouble. Michael's taking over. All right, we're going to show you a student organization called iBuddy, and we'll be back with more USF Housing Live right after this.
My position at iBuddy is the event and membership coordinator. I guess it started like 3 years ago, and this is the third time we're doing it. So we pair an international student and a domestic student and then let them attend a series of 8 or 9 socials. iBuddy is, I would say, an initiative to bring more international students, make them used to American culture. The main focus of these socials is to make them interact with each other and make them interact with other buddy pairs. You come here to study and you definitely need a buddy who knows how things go on here. You get to understand American culture, and yeah, you don't have to feel alienated if you have an American friend. Not just American, I would say domestic, who's been here for like 7 or 8 years. A friend always helps. A friend who knows, how to get things done always helps. Yeah, we definitely wish to meet people from different countries. So for domestic students, this is the only opportunity that you could do that. There are a few buddy pairs who haven't become just best friends, but they have started even, going to the same classes if they belong to the same department. So yeah, for all the international students who wants to stay on campus, do it. You don't really get the experience of on-campus housing, no matter how much you pay living off campus. You don't feel alone anytime.
Welcome back, everyone. That about does it for all of us here at USF Housing Live. This is Housing and Residential Education at USF Tampa. We are the best place to live, the best place to work, and the best place to learn. I want to say a big thank you to Peter Thorsett, Dr. Paulins, Michael Evans. Thank you so much for coming on the program with us tonight. Thank you so much to our incredible student crew that puts us together and builds all these videos. We have a ton more episodes about every 2 weeks. Our next show is going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, June 5th. Make sure you join us at youtube.com/USF Housing or facebook.com/USF Housing. We love serving you in this capacity. Of course, we're going to answer your questions live. We'll be there in the USF Class of 2021 Facebook group to answer your questions. Hang on a sec. I'm forgetting something, aren't I? There's just one last thing. Go Wolves! We'll see you next time.